I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. Yeah. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah.
Okay. Part of being president of the United States of America is speaking. You must be able to speak. In the same way the quarterback has to be able to throw, the accountant has to be able to add and subtract. Joe Biden, as president, he must be able to hold thoughts in his head and speak. Joe Biden is not qualified for the job in which he sits. This is really, really, really important. Now, yes, we're going to laugh at Joe Biden tonight, and we're going to yell at Joe Biden tonight and all these things, but keep in mind as we go through all these clips, and I'm going to play that one again for you here because I want you to think about this. As you watch this clip for a second time, remember, this goes beyond a president who has mental issues, I think we could safely assume. This goes beyond a president who has speech issues. We're in a situation now where China especially, Russia too, but China especially, they are getting really, really, really aggressive. And there's a reason. They think we're weak. And when Joe Biden does a CNN town hall, it's more than just fodder for my show, so you and I can laugh and yell about it and whatnot. When Joe Biden does a town hall, the people running China, they watch too. They watched every single minute of that last night. So as you watch this again, let's just take this in for how serious it is. The leaders of China who want Taiwan, they want to get aggressive, they want to dominate America, they want to take over the #1 spot in the world. They sat down in their Chinese chairs and they watched as our president spoke like this.
I've heard you speak about it because you always, I'm not being solicitous, but you're always straight up about what you're doing. Yeah. And the question is whether or not we should be in a position where you are, why can't the experts say, we know that this virus is in fact, it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved, but permanently approved. Yeah.
China watches. Vladimir Putin watches. The world's wolves watch when the president is on television. What do you think they're thinking right now? What do you think they're thinking? So, you know the Democrats are the anti-police party. You know who was out there saying defund the police. You watched it happen for a year and a half. It's not a mystery. Well, here's what Joe Biden had to say about it.
How do you respond to Republicans who try to paint you and your party as anti-police?
They're lying.
Lying. It's weird. I'm looking at a bunch of headlines here. AOC calling to defund the police, Democrat. Rashida Tlaib, Democrat, no more police. Ilhan Omar calling cops actually a cancer that we must amputate, on and on and on and on. And but those are just a few of the highlight examples. We all know who the defund the police party is, but we also know this. Those midterm polling numbers must be looking real bad for Democrats if they're running away from this issue now. And I'm sorry, you don't get to get away with that because people are dying in droves in these big cities because of this insane blame the cops nonsense. Just because you or I are still above ground, we should not just ignore the fact poor people in big cities are being slaughtered in record numbers because of Democrat anti-cop rhetoric. That's a fact. That is a fact. So, you know what inflation is, right? You and I have talked about inflation, the devaluing of the dollar. That's all it is. And how does the dollar get devalued? Well, you print and spend too much money. You print too much money and it's not backed by anything now, so it devalues the dollar. Now, I call our country a system now. I call it the system because they can tell outright lies now out of nothing. You don't even have to twist the truth. You can just tell an outright lie and get away with it. That the President of the United States is comfortable saying this about inflation on national TV says our entire system is irreparably broken.
You're pumping all of this money into the economy. Couldn't that add to...
No, look, here's the deal. Moody's today, when a Wall Street firm, not some liberal think tank, said if we pass the other two things I'm trying to get done, we will, in fact, reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. Reduce inflation. I don't know anybody, including Larry Summers, who's a friend of mine, who's worried about inflation, is suggesting that there's any long-term march here if we do the things we're going to do.
Yeah, you just spend a bunch of money you don't have and it'll reduce inflation, right? That's how that works. How does he get away with this? Oh, by the way, the guy he cited, he wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post saying the risk of inflation is real. But again, you get away with it. You get away with it when you have a system, when you don't have real separate institutions anymore, when you have one mind, one ideology. You get away with lying for an hour on national television. And Joe Biden's mind, his deteriorating pudding brain of a mind, it does help us now and then on the right because he can't control it and he gets really, really honest. I mean, look, small businesses have been absolutely slaughtered over the last year and a half. Oh, don't get me wrong, Amazon's doing well. All the big businesses are doing fine. Small businesses have been crushed. How concerned is Joe Biden about small businesses and small business owners? Well, here's how concerned he is.
I think your business and the tourist business is really going to be in a bind for a little while. John, my guess is that people paying $7, $8 an hour plus tips, that's, I think, John, you're going to be finding $15 an hour or more.
Why aren't you paying more? Don't tell me you're worried about your small business. Why aren't you just taking all that money you make and just giving it to the dishwasher? That's how small business works, right? Now remember this. When you point out the destructiveness of the communist policies to the communist, you're not affecting him. It's a religion of domination and destruction. When you point out to Joe Biden, when you point out to his communist handlers, when you point out to anybody in the Communist Democrat Party that their policies, defund the police, it's killing people. Their economic policies are trashing the economy. When you point out that spending that much money will increase inflation, they know. They don't care. The destruction, that's the idea. Until you get to the point where you will accept the destruction is intentional, these are people who intend to bring down the United States of America. Until you get to that point, you will never be able to fully understand and combat these people.